Alright, welcome to the third installment of ordered pairs. What is an ordered pair? How do we find an ordered pair? And how do we graph an ordered pair? Alright, so last two videos, the first one was actually on what is an ordered pair? And how do we find an ordered pair? The second one was what is an ordered pair and how do we graph an ordered pair? And this third one is an extension. And this one is primarily about what do we do if we don't have a nice, neat whole number with our ordered pair. Now we're going to start off first with the definition of ordered pair, just to reiterate. Two numbers in a certain order, x comma y. And remember, the x value or the horizontal value is always first. The y value or the vertical value is always second. And x can be known as the independent variable, the input, or the x value. The y value can be known as the dependent variable, the output, or the y value. Alright, so ordered pairs, and remember we talked about how we graph. It's 4 steps. Draw a vertical line that intersects the x-axis with the matching area according to the ordered pair. The second step is draw the horizontal that goes to the y value of the ordered pair. Third is plot a point at the intersection of those two lines, and 4 is erase. So far all we've done is review. Now, here's where it's going to change up. The examples we're going to deal with. Now, if you notice example 1 and example 2, example 1 has point A, and in point A we have 2 1/4. 2 1/4 is not a whole number. In example B, for our y value, we have negative 11/5. Again, not a whole number. So we're going to talk about how we graph things that contain an x or y value that's not a whole number. Or, I should say, integer. Now, how we're going to start off with this is by looking at A, number 1, point A. And again, we're going to go through the steps. Step 1, we're going to draw the vertical line at the x value. So if we take a look, our x value is 2 1/4. Well, there's a problem with that. 2 1/4, that's in between 2 and 3, but we have no little dash or no indication where in between 2 and 3 is 2 1/4. So what we're going to do with 2 1/4 is we're going to change it to its decimal, which is 2.25. That's pretty easy to do. You just remember 2 is going to be in front of the decimal. Take 1/4 and change it to its decimal form by doing 1 divided by 4. And you get 0.25, so 2.25. So now that we changed 2/4 into 2.25, what we're going to do is draw a vertical line between 2 and 3, and since 2.25 is closer to 2 than it is to 3, we're going to draw that line very close to 2. So we're going to put it approximately there where the green arrow is. Well, the third green arrow that just popped up, because it's closer to 2. So we're going to go ahead and draw this. Now keep in mind you're never going to be exact since the number's not on there, but you're going to try to get close as possible. Alright, so now that we got that, we're going to move on to step 2. And step 2 is to draw the horizontal line. So we got to first look at our y value, and our y value here is 3. And lucky for us, that is a whole number. So we just follow the normal thing. We can look for 3 on our y axis, and as you can see I got a red arrow pointing to it, and since we know it's there, we're going to draw that horizontal line. And now, move on to step 3, plot a point where those two lines intersect. So I'm going to plot my point, label it A, like so. And now we're going to go to a last step, which is erase the lines, because we just want the graph to point. So we're going to erase the lines, just leaving the point and a label. And you can examine that little point that we have right there, how it's not quite at the intersection of the two crosshairs. It's just a little bit off to the right. And that's exactly what we want, because 2 1/4 is a little bit to the right of 2 on the number line. Alright, so now we have finished part A. As we finish part A, or number 1 I should say, we're going to go off to point B for problem number 2. So again, we're going to repeat the process. First we're going to draw a vertical line from the x value from the point. We look at it, it's negative 4. Nice, neat integer. And we can easily find that on our x-axis. As you can see, I have a green arrow pointing to it now. So now we're just going to go ahead and draw the vertical line. And we complete step 1. So now we're going to move on to step 2. We're going to draw our horizontal line. So we need to first look at our y value, which is negative 11/5. Well, that's going to cause a problem because nowhere on the y-axis is negative 11/5. Matter of fact, it's not an integer. So we need to do something there. We need to change it over. So remember, all you have to do is take a negative 11, because that's a numerator, and divide it by 5, and we get negative 2.2. So now we have the decimal. So since we have negative 2.2, we know that's in between negative 2 and negative 3 on the y. I just got 2 arrows now pointing to it as on the y-axis. So we know it's in between there. Now, since it's closer to negative 2 than it is to negative 3, we're going to draw our vertical line closer to negative 2 than we are to negative 3. Hence the third arrow that I just popped up. Remember, we're not going to get it exact because we don't know exactly where negative 2.2 is, but we're going to try to make it close by using some basic logic. Alright, and now I'm going to draw my line. Alright, so since we have the line there, we're going to jump over to step 3 and plot a point where they intersect. So I plot my point, label it B, and now we're just going to simply erase the lines to finish it off, just leaving my point. So, as you can see now, we have point A in quadrant 1 and point B in quadrant 2. Alright, so that right there is how we graph points with non-integers, either rational or irrational numbers. We just find where they are approximately going to be at, and then plot our points there. Alright, so I got 2 examples right here. You can either download a coordinate plane or you can draw one on a piece of paper. I want you to plot where those 2 points are going to be that I've given you, point A and point B, and then tell me what quadrants point A and point B are going to be in. When I tell you to pause it, go ahead and pause the video, and when you're done, unpause it and we're going to go over together. So go ahead and pause the video now. Alright, welcome back. So as you can see, I got the problems still up on the board. I want to go ahead and post up my answers. As you can see, I have the points on the graph. Alright, so if we take a look, we have point A, point B clearly marked on the graph. As you can see, point B is actually on the y-axis, so notice I put the quadrant there as none, because technically it isn't in one, it's on the y-axis. And as you can see, for point A, since it's in the bottom right-hand corner, I put the quadrant as 4. Alright, all the steps that I followed were right there to the right. Step 1, draw the vertical line. Step 2, draw the horizontal. Step 3, plot the point. Step 4, erase the lines. I did not, however, erase my lines just so you can see how I did it. Step 5 is label the quadrant. Step 6 is to plot your points. Alright, so if you look at the screen now, as you can see, right now on the graph, everything is labeled. You can see the quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4, just so you can figure out how I labeled everything. Alright, so that's it for today. I hope you've learned something, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great, great day.